Well, the NBA playoffs are well underway. We've seen a lot of good games thus far, even seen fans pouring popcorn on Russell Westbrook, which is not a great thing. But the great thing for the NBA is that ratings have bounced back quite a bit. A lot of people are watching not only higher than what we saw last year in the bubble by a massive margin, but also slightly higher than what we saw in 2019 as well. So for more on what it means for the league and the playoff enthusiasm here, happy to be joined by Yahoo Sports Reporter Vincent Goodwill. And Vincent, I mean, when we look at it, a lot of people have been waiting for kind of that action, the fan energy to come back into these games. But what do you make of the action thus far and the way that fans have responded?
Behaved. I think the ones who have behaved have largely provided an eventful sort of atmosphere. When you think about some of the ratings that have gone up compared to the bubble, it was one thing that was missing. Like when you think about the entire total picture of what the viewing experience is, the fans are a big part of that. And of course, you can allude to the Russell Westbrook situation, the situation in Salt Lake City, and also in New York, where a fan tried to spit on Trae Young. But by and large, although you hate to see those things happening, and there clearly is a problem, there seems to be more of a widespread enthusiasm for fans being able to return to arenas, almost a sense of return to normalcy, in addition to there being some high quality competition on the floor as well.
Yeah, Vincent, when you talk about the ratings being much better this year, how much of that do you think has to do with the timing? Obviously, the playoffs happening at a time when we normally expect it, as opposed to August of last year. How much of that do you tie into something like the play-in tournament, which Adam Silver has said he wants to keep around?
I think it's a combination of all of those things. I don't think it can be one thing that you can like a zero-sum proposition. I think the last half of the season, where there were a lot of good matchups because the league was able to schedule closer to the finish of the first half of the season, where you could see which teams were good, which matchups were going to be better. You were able to whet the appetite of the fan, along with more fans being allowed into arenas gradually heading into this part. You saw earlier today where Madison Square Garden is allowing more fans in if they make it to the second round of the playoffs, where they virtually every fan will have to be vaccinated and they can be sold out. I think the feeling that you're part of an event, the feeling that you're being part of something that if you're not watching, you're missing out on something. That was a big part of something from the bubble that was missing. You can't replicate humans being in the arena, giving it more energy, giving it a certain sense of a warmth. The league did the best they could with the virtual fan experience and everything else, but there's no substitute for actually having 15,000 screaming maniacs within reason in a building and creating the entire experience, along with being, yes, our viewing habits this time of year are geared to watching NBA basketball as opposed to the late summer where people are going on vacations. It was the start of the pandemic. It was just a lot of things going on that we couldn't necessarily calibrate and get an exact approximation of what those ratings actually meant last year.
And Vincent, going back to some of the incidents you mentioned, it feels like the fans are getting a little nasty here. You saw a Knicks fan spitting on Trae Young. You had a Sixers fan dump popcorn on Russell Westbrook. I mean, how much pressure is the league facing from the players' side saying you got to step in and do something about this?
A lot of pressure, because the one thing we do know, all it would take is the wrong fan sitting a little too close, being within a little more than earshot of a player, and we could have another incident on our hands just because the players are not feeling protected by the league. The fans are feeling more and more emboldened, and whether it's the proximity of the physical proximity of being close again, or social media feeling like you can touch the players, you can get a reaction, you can go viral or whatever, or just maybe just the emotion of being in a communal atmosphere again, it's almost like a huge melting pot that the league has to be able to get under because, yeah, the players are looking at the league saying, hey, if you won't protect us, we will protect us, and we don't want to see those type of repercussions.
Yeah, kind of flashbacks to run our tests and things that happened before there in the league. But we'll be watching, of course, playoffs, that intensity. Fans aren't used to it. It's been a long time since they've been back out to watch the games. Vincent Goodwill, Yahoo Sports Reporter, appreciate you hopping on here to chat today. Be well.